Hey everybody, how you doing? Haven't done many videos in the past few days. Not on this channel anyhow. I put a few up on my other channels. But the story, let's get right into it. It's a true life crime mystery. And I thought, what a coincidence that this is mystery channel and I'm talking about an unsolved mystery. This is about Meredith Kercher and her so far convicted killers. The murderers are 3, and there is still action pending in court, so things are up in the air. There's accusations, criticisms, and all kinds of slanderous, libelous words being exchanged between the U.S., the Americans, and even from England, where the murder victim is from. But let me just say, the general thing, which should be said for consolation, that any type of a murder is a tragedy. I'm sorry for the loss of the family and friends, and for the murder victim themselves. But let me add to that one caveat, is that everything happens for a reason, and this is definitely an implication of karma. Often on the surface, and we as unaware human mortals, we don't know what the karma is. We cannot figure it out unless we dig deeper. And that is the purpose of this channel, of course, as most of my viewers can attest to that. I recommend not just watching this video, but watch as many videos as you possibly can to really understand where I'm coming from. I think it's worth your time. Now, getting back to this story, it is really just one individual. One. And what is the value of one life? Yeah, it was a young life. But take it in the scope of everything that happens. All my grandparents have just died in the past years. My own brother died. My wife died. My dog died. My cats died. Take it in the scope of things that happen in the world. How many Iraqis have died in that conflict? And you don't see people dwelling on any single one of them. I believe the figure on one of the radical truth websites that I am researching, almost 1.5 million Iraqis in the past 10 years have been slaughtered one way or the other. And they're not even military. A lot of them are civilian. I think that the majority of them are civilian. So let's just get a little bit of perspective on how we're going to look at this story. And that's all I'm saying. So getting back into the meat of the story, did she do it? Well, she maintains her innocence. The family and supporters maintain their innocence. And I'm talking about Amanda Knox. Amanda Knox is the most glamorized figure in this, and there's a lot of accusation from the Kercher camp that that's not fair. That's heinous, because how can you make the murderer into the celebrity? So there's a little bit of envy from that. They're thinking at least, make their daughter into a glamorized icon. They did it with Marilyn Monroe. They did it with Anna Nicole. Of course, Meredith Kercher was too young. she was only in her early 20s. And she hadn't done a lot. If you search for her name, she wasn't in any big movies, but she did do a very well-known music video where she was featured. It's not principal, but it is a featured role with a close-up. And in that video, you can find it if you search. I'll put it in the tags. The singer seems to be addressing her. She's the first person that comes in before the party starts. So it's kind of, sensual and romantic. And you get a really good look at her. Now, it was about almost 3 years or around 3 years that her murder took place after that video was shot. Now, the other convicted murderers, which I want to remind you, there's still a lot of question about it. There is an Italian young man who was supposedly the boyfriend of Amanda Knox at the time. He is now considered serving the time of a 25-year sentence, while Amanda Knox is serving her 26-year sentence. And the other murderer is another man who they had somehow met, and he's from the Ivory Coast. And of course there was a lot of legal issues with him, even being around Italy and not having money. He was kind of transient, they could say, in this situation. So how these three come together as a conspiracy to do this is a mystery. Because what comes out is that the boyfriend and the girlfriend, did not premeditate this. So then you're left with, well, what about this other guy, the individual from the Ivory Coast? His name is Rudy, whereas the boyfriend's named Raphael, and again, Amanda Knox, her name has been sensationalized. With Rudy, you see him entering the scene. Somehow he knows Meredith Kercher, and there is possibility that he was framed. They're saying that his DNA was found in the murder victim's body. So obviously that's an implication of rape. I didn't look at all the data. I don't even know if the Italian court system would allow that data to become public. But he gave a quick confession. He opted for a fast-track trial so that he could get more leniency. So it's kind of like, people would do that if they're desperate. That's not by any means definite proof that the guy is guilty. He may have been strong-armed into it just so the Italian authorities could get closure started with their proceedings, but by no means is that what happened, because it's not closed at all. They just wanted to get somebody and then move on and possibly get the boyfriend-girlfriend connection involved and then get closure on that. Because they were getting hammered all the way down to the police that appeared on the scene at first, and I'm pretty sure that the investigation was botched, but the Italian court doesn't make a very big deal out of that. I don't know if there's any way to appeal that in higher court or with a federal agency, such as in the United States you have the Justice Department, which is supposed to come in and take care of issues like that in the lower courts. But apparently there was an appeal, and I think last year, in one of the highest Italian courts that upheld the guilty verdict on the Amanda Knox and Raphael. I think his last name is pronounced Solicito. So anyhow, this gives you an overview. It's still in, and this is the clincher, that there's been a big movie coming out with it, with one of the stars of Hollywood, This is supposed to come out on Lifetime. It should be airing, and the family of Amanda Knox wants to block it. The family of Meredith Kercher is saying that it's ghastly, to see their daughter enacted like that on the screen. They quoted as saying, "This is terrible what the film people did." Okay, so this is a mystery. We may come back to it, but I just think it has so much to it that's fascinating and makes you question human nature. Thanks for listening. Good luck and be safe.